Well, hello everyone and welcome to this little tutorial. Today I decided to use one of these little black gessoed canvases from Michaels, and I have a photo out of some sunflowers that I took a picture of right on my kitchen counter. And today I'll be working in water soluble oils, and the brand that I really like, I really like Cobra brand because they are very highly pigmented, and so they are very impactful. Whereas some lower quality paints, even oil paints like the Winton brand, um, you'd be better off using like a Blick Studio Art brand that's just a little bit higher quality and more pigmented. So this is kind of a test to show even the quality of the paint because I'm painting on black. I was worried that it wouldn't even, show up. So I did a test on the side to see, and it looks like we'll be okay. So I'm going to start off with the sunflower, and we'll see how much room I have. There's quite a bit going on here, but I kind of like the way the sunflower was, kind of like lying down on the paper towel. So we'll see. It's kind of like a miniature still life. So I'll use a bit of this trans oxide red. Oh, and you'll see I've labeled all my paints because it makes it easier for me as well to kind of walk through what I'm using as I paint. So going to start off with a small center on that sunflower just because I need to make room for all the petals. And then I might go and look at these. I want to get a few of those little daisies in there. So I might just mark off kind of one or two of those centers. And that one's just kind of darker. Just to give myself almost like when you're setting up a little still life, whether it's big or small, you want to make sure the centers are not all even. And so even this one and this one line up a little too much. So excuse me, I'll move that over a little. So what I love about these water mixable oils is that you can clean your brush with water and you don't have any messy turp at the end of the day. So I got this, I love using trans oxide yellow because it's kind of like Indian yellow, but it has a darker, kind of less vibrant base. So when I mix in brighter colors later, I really like the way it kind of tones them down, and it kind of gives a natural shadow. So as you can see, I'm working on black, so you can't really see too much, neither can I, to be truthful. But I know what I'm doing, and I can see enough to see that, where these little petals are going. So just getting that down there, because you're going to see that I like to underpaint. If you follow my channel, which by the way, if you feel free, if you like what you see, to remember to like and subscribe to my channel, because then you'll get alerts or whatever when I list new videos and if I go live, which I sometimes do. And I also have full-length lessons on my Patreon channel. So with Christmas season not too far away, I have a lot of seasonal fun paintings that you could use as Christmas cards and all that stuff that you could paint. I just enjoy sharing my art and helping people learn how to paint what they want to paint, because it's a journey, it's not easy. You got to put in a lot of hours of work to get anywhere where you're satisfied, and you do need to learn from someone. So all right, so what I've got down was some alizarin there while I was jabbering away, some alizarin for the base of this, and I'm going to add a little bit of that transparent red oxide into that. because I know that that's kind of a brownie red. It was from a fall bouquet. So it's kind of like it's in the dark, and now we can start turning the lights on. So I'm going to get some of this cad yellow medium, and I'm going to put that into my, whatever that yellow oxide I had there. Maybe I'll mix a little bit of this transparent oxide red there. And I'm going to start in the center and just pull my brush stroke out for that sunflower. And I'm using a 4 Aspen Princeton brush from Michael's. So I will try to remember to put that in the description. So here we go, one at a time. I'm just going to make those real simple. And my goal is to do, oopsies, I added alizarin in there instead, but that'll work, especially for these ones in the shadow here. A little more color is fine. And so I'm just going to push down and lift my brush and kind of twist it to give it that final petal. And as you get better at it, you can add more details and more petals if you like. But for now, I am going to keep it as simple as I can. I have trouble doing that. I always want to get into too many details, but I know that doesn't always help you when you're trying to learn something new. You want to get a handle of the basics first. So I'm just going to go back now because I'm looking at this shape, and I'm going to kind of shape by, going back in there and putting a little more yellow into the sunflower there. And then you can kind of dab a little bit with your brush, loosen off some of those edges. That's why I like using flat brushes, because you can use those corners to do a lot of detail work. All right, so now we have that blocked in. Now I want to block in some of these daisies. So I'm going to rinse my brush off quickly, and I'm not trying to get all the details correct right away. I'm just blocking in. And sometimes you'll find, you need to go back, and then sometimes you'll find, wow, I think that looks good enough. It looks, especially if you're trying to keep your paintings loose. And so now I'm looking at the daisy here, and I'm just gonna get some of that lemon yellow, because these are very lemony yellow, and just put in some of those little brush strokes. And I'm using kind of the edge of my brush to make those. And you can feel free to switch to a smaller brush to do some of these smaller flowers. And take that off the edge there. So if you want to loosen up, though, make sure to use a bigger brush. So, because I'll show you, if I use something small like this little brush here, I can get more details later with those original strokes that kind of make it more, a little more detail here and there. But I like to block in kind of as loosely as I can, and then go, if you want to, you can go back and just kind of work some of those edges a bit, and get more refined in the details. And now I want to go and add some lighter red red brown kind of to that. So I'm going to get some white, some of this red oxide and alizarin. Keep it on the brown side a bit here, and put some of those little strokes in there. And for me, this canvas is a really small canvas because I would like to paint this really large, but just for the sake of the demo, I like using a small canvas so I don't take so much of your time. So if you wanted to try this, you can get larger panels like that are painted black, or get yourself some black gesso and paint it black. So now I'm just taking a little bit of that lemon yellow and mixing it in to my cad yellow pile here, and I'm just putting in a little more detail and some brighter edges on the sunflower. Like that. And I can get something for the center to kind of darken it a little. I've got some of this permanent violet. I'll put a little bit of that in there just to get it kind of darker. And I'll even add a little white and some of this blue and kind of put in some of that into the center there. And then I'm going to go and I could, let's see, I kind of lost my centers and because I was trying to fit them all in, I kind of lost my daisies here to a little bit. They got a little bit too chaotic and they're getting kind of squished up against the edge there. So I'm going to move this center over here so they're not right on the edge, and loosen those up a little and get that center back over here. And so I'm using a little sap. You can go back in and put in a little bit of a few lighter ones here and there. So that looks a little bit better. And then I'll put in, there's a leaf kind of showing there. So I got some sap and some of that cad yellow mix. And I'll put a bit of green up here. Put a bit of a green leaf up in here. And then with the black background, for the tablecloth, I'm just going to take a little white. Gotta make sure I don't let too much water get into this. That's the thing you gotta watch out for, is to keep your brush dry, because when you're using the water to rinse your brush, but you don't want the water mixing in with your water mixable paint because it starts to get, it does break it down, so you don't want to mix water into it. So I'm going to mix up a gray color using this red oxide and some of this cobalt blue and white. And I'm going to put that in there just to give it a shadow. And I'll go get some white and make that a little lighter and kind of put that tablecloth, or it's a paper towel, but we can imagine it's a nice white tablecloth. I really enjoy the texture of these paints. They're very buttery and soft. And then there's a bit of a background up here that's sort of dark. And so you have a choice. You could leave it black like this, or kind of use, make a darker gray. I could use this Payne's gray here and just sort of put it in darker in the background here. So basically I wasn't going to use these canvases. I actually was going to give them away because I don't know, I'm not used to painting on a black canvas. But what's kind of interesting is you can see a little bit of black outline on everything, which kind of looks unique. And so I've done a video on my YouTube channel on that, doing a landscape where you purposely leave a little bit of a black outline on everything. And it looks very interesting. Like it's a different style. So you can see if you can find that video on my channel and watch that one too. And then when you're done getting the tablecloth in and everything, you can go and kind of work on some, tweak the shadows a little bit. Like I could go and make this a little darker up here, get it a little, and have like a little bit of a petal. There's a petal kind of coming out this way. Have one coming down like that, so they're not all just straightforward. But I wanted to show you first the simple technique, because once you start playing around, that's where the trouble starts. You'll find anyways that you'll go, oh, I should have just left it the way I had it. You can start to overwork it, but I like to put a few little, interesting things happening, I'll say, just to break it up a little after I get those original sunflower petals in there. And then sometimes you can get a little bit of that transparent oxide or something, and then put a little bit of a petal or two going off the canvas there. But this is a miniature painting, so not a lot of room for much, but I'm putting, just for fun, I'm going to put some of that red in here and there just to mix it up a little around this tiny little picture. And I'll mix up something a little lighter. Put a little bit of a highlight on that one. for a tiny little painting, it's not too terrible. And it was kind of fun. I really enjoyed that. So feel free to try something different like this, just for something new to do. So these come in a 2-pack, these little canvases. So it's, they're very inexpensive. So I like to play around with stuff like that and also experiment, because then you never know what you learn when you do something totally new like that. You can go back and paint on a white canvas and view it totally differently. So I hope you enjoyed this little lesson, and I look forward to see you in more to come. If you have any ideas, please leave me in the comments below. Other things, other paintings you would like to paint. And have a great weekend. Thank you.